Okay, all right, where do we start? Today we're talking about exclusives. If you guys have been here on the tubes with me for a while, or if you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I am working on hardcovers for the first time ever. And if you're brand new, surprise, I'm working on hardcovers for the first time ever. And since 2 out of the 4 books have been published already, I wanted to do something to make these hardcovers really exciting, really special. Like, obviously they're gonna have a brand new cover because I'm doing the rebranding. So that's what kind of instigated it. But then I was like, I want to do more. And so, hold on. I was reading this series right here. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's a really good series, by the way. One of my absolute faves. Whoa. And one of the books, this one right here, this is book 2 technically in the series. And I dog-eared the page so I could find it even because I wanted to come back to it. If you guys don't like that, just pretend you didn't see that. And so right here it says, and technically this is not exclusives. I know, this is just bonus scenes. So I guess I have no idea what I'm going to title this video. Bonus scenes, exclusives in the back of the book. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it just says turn the page for more, and then it lists all the cool stuff that you can find in the book, which is, in this case, an article about world building and 4 questions for the author, and then a sneak peek at her new book. So that's just one example, but you'll see this kind of thing in books all the time. Like, actually, I'm pretty sure there's something in the first book too. Okay, they didn't do the cool, like, turn the page, here's more, but they have, you know, a little excerpt for the other 2 books, and then it shows the first 2 chapters, I think, of this book is in this book. So that's called, what is it, an excerpt from the next book or whatever. And I've done that. I did that. I think only the first book. I haven't done it in the Ginny Key yet, although now I will be able to. But that's another conversation, which we'll get into that. And then the cool thing that the Bitter Blue has is that there's, like, I don't want to call this character art. What would you call this? Story art, where it shows like the bridges and like a map, and I don't want to say too much more because this is the 3rd book and we don't want to spoil anything. Once I knew for sure that I wanted exclusives in the back of my books, the next step, of course, was figure out what the heck they were going to be, because I honestly didn't know. I had some ideas and I know what I like, but I decided I should go to Instagram and ask you guys. So I did a few polls. The first one was, what scene or point of view would you want me to write for an exclusive in the Stolen Kingdom? And I paraphrased that, even though I want to have exclusives in all 3 of them, because I'm going to do one book at a time. That's the first poll, and here's what you guys said. Okay, so there's a couple that are spoilery, so I won't read them out loud, although they definitely gave me some good ideas. But I noticed that there was like a lot of Gideon, please. Yes, Gideon's point of view. He's such an intriguing character. I'd love to get in his mind. Another one for Gideon. Another one for Gideon's POV. Another one for Gideon. Anything from Gideon. And then there were a couple other votes for Enoch, for Ari's father. Something prior to the book. So like a prequel, I think is what that's called. There's a couple people who want very specific things from Caden or from Ari that I can't share because spoilers, but I love it. And somebody suggested doing like a letter from a character to another character, which is fun. I like that. If there had been a letter writing scene, I don't think there is, but if there had been, that would have been perfect. I guess I should just tell you now because I'm horrible with secrets. But what happened is that reading this jogged a ton of cool ideas, and I sat down and I started writing a scene for Gideon. So yeah, like, oh my gosh, you're gonna love it. It is so good. I'm so excited about it. And so the trick here is I've written a good chunk of it, but I know I've got bullet points for the rest, and I know what I want it to lead up to, which is actually the beginning of book 2. So like I said, I can't say anything, but if you have read book 2 or even just the beginning of it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Gideon's story is going to start in Jin, have a little bit of the cool history there in his story, history, get it? And then it'll go perfectly into that first scene in book 2. So I won't say any more because I am the spoiler queen. Oh, I forgot I did this. I also asked if I should do exclusives in just book 1 or in all of them. Here's the screenshot later. It was very unanimous that we wanted all the books to have the exclusives, all of them. Then the next question I asked, and this was based on, of course, the Graceling series because it was fresh in my mind, I just finished reading them, was if there was a writing section, what would you want the focus to be? So some people made really good points. Like author K. Dunn said the writing section would just narrow your interested audience, in her opinion. That's actually a really good good point. And so I feel like what I would need to do is make sure that if I do include something about the writing, that it entertains a reader too, and that maybe it's even, you know, story related, like how I came up with the world. That would still probably be interesting to a reader if it was about world building, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure. Jenna said rough draft versus final draft, and I don't know if this is what she meant, but when she said that, I pictured Sarah J. Maas and how she has the annotated stuff, and then my brain went to like, what if I did annotations in, you know, if I could figure out how to photocopy and then put it back on the computer. We'll see how that goes. If I try that out, I might just test it and see. But you could almost write like how you were feeling as you wrote something, and then I think that would be a little more interesting to readers. And there were lots of other ideas like character arcs and world building. Lots of people wanted world building, how to write sequels, marketing. Just throwing these out in case you guys want to do something in your book. I liked this one, author interview, because that actually was my next question, which was again kind of pulling from the Graceling series and ideas from that. If I had a facts section, FAQ, frequently asked questions, or an author interview, like something along those lines, what would you guys want included in it? For me, I saw that she had 4 questions and that they were really commonly asked questions, and I thought I get a lot of really specific questions too, so let's see if any of them come up. I only have one that comes to mind in particular right now, which is, you know, how did you come up with the Ginny, the original story? So if I did an FAQ section, that would definitely need to be one of the questions, but then I'm like, well, what other questions do people want to know all the time? I love all of these. There's like why you wrote the series, an interview on when did you start writing, is there a fairy tale you'd love to retell someday, how did you decide on what stories in this book that you decided to retell? I get asked that all the time. That's a really good question. Like, how did I pick these specific fairy tales to retell? And I also get asked a lot of the time, what's a fairy tale you'd love to retell someday? Like add it to the series maybe, or separately. That's a really common one. I love that. Polly asks a really good writing question that I get asked a lot, which is like, did you outline all 4 of them before you started drafting, or did you just have the one? So we could talk about that. So if I talked about that, then it's kind of like a good balance of for readers and for writers, so I wouldn't have to have a fully writing section, but I could still share some writing related details. Elizabeth asked what was my process for coming up with it. So again, that's kind of that common question. I definitely want to answer some version of that, like how did I get the inspiration for the story? I love telling that story. Then last but not least, I did a poll where I said, like, if you could choose exclusives for a book, what would you pick? Because these are my ideas. These are the things that I'm excited about, but what do you guys want? Here we go. Here's the annotations for a chapter or 2 that you like the most. That would be really fun. Extra scenes like backstory and things like that. Art or character art. I like to know what inspired the stories and characters, how you went about dreaming it all up. So that would kind of fall on that FAQ section that we talked about. Q&A, character art, alternative endings, artwork of characters, bookmarks, character art prints, bonus chapters, more character art, character backstory or special profiles or something like that. Extra scenes. I love reading stories from other characters' POVs. I love reading the Q&As that authors do and also seeing their music playlists. I had never thought of that. So that one I'll have to add to my list. More character art, more exclusive scenes, and a Q&A. Yes. Love it. Exclusive cover, that's definitely happening. That's a guarantee. Rough edits and annotations of the first chapter. Exclusive scenes and character art and new POVs, like we talked about. Q&A again, and discussion questions for book clubs. Oh, and another reading playlist. So here's the thing. I have a Spotify playlist, but I don't know if I've ever lined it up intentionally with chapters. I probably did when I was writing it, but that's going to take some deep thinking. But I could probably add that to my list of things to consider. All right, this side is my YouTube video, so we're not going to show my plans for that, but this side is what I've figured out for the hardcover / technically it's called the 2nd edition. So obviously Mandy needs to do the outer wrap, which is what you call the outside. And then I want to consider updating the blurb, whether a little bit or a lot, I don't know, but it's always good to take a look at that, see how it's performing. And that's the back cover synopsis, by the way, in case you guys don't know what blurb means. I need to give Mandy a final page count, which will depend on what comes down here, and I need to give Mandy both of these before she can even start the wraps. So I have to get my butt in gear ASAP, which means all of this is gonna need to get done ASAP. Updating the back matter won't be too hard. I know I wanna add, you know, the new cover to the copyrights page, and the acknowledgements and anything else that's happened since then. I don't know. I think a newsletter sign up that I have, it could be updated to be a little more fun and interesting. And then my books published page, I've published more since The Stolen Kingdom came out, so I need to update that. And maybe even my author page, I feel like I have a new bio, but I don't remember if I fixed it. So I want to take a look at that. And also I'm going to have to look at formatting the map. It might need to be on one page instead of two, depending on how the hardcover works. So we'll take a look at that. And I need to assign an ISBN number, obviously, because every single edition has its own ISBN number. Although, just an FYI, ebooks no longer need ISBNs as the identifying number. They use something called an ASIN instead, and those are free. I want to use Ingram Spark because that's how you do hardcover, so I'm going to have to update in Bowker, where I buy my ISBNs. Ignore this side. We're going to keep going down this side here. Number 6, I need a bio on my flap, I think, and a blurb on the flap as well. I need to ask Mandy what the heck are we doing with the flap, so I'll have to ask her this before I can give her this. But anyway, if the blurb is on the flap, then what do we do for the back? I've seen praise for the book, or I could update the an interior page to have a praise for the book in the front. So yeah, I have to figure out the back. What on earth is that gonna look like? I have no idea. So yeah, that's gonna involve a lot of looking at my shelf, pulling down books. What the heck is going on? I don't know, we'll see. And then the exclusives, this is the fun part that is gonna be most of today's video. And then, last but not least, is I need to review all the formatting. This is my favorite step, you guys. I love this so much. I'm going to spell check it, obviously. I'm going to have somebody read the new stuff. My CPs will be super amazing, because they always are, and help me with the Gideon chapter, but maybe also I will show it to my patrons. So I put patrons, maybe. And then, of course, I want to also be really smart when I'm uploading it, and so I want to review the keywords and categories that I put it in, take a look at what it's in already, but also do some research. Who loves research? Raise your hand. Not me. And then last but not least, I added this in on the side. I actually do, since it's the second edition, I want to tweak the story, because as I've been listening to the audiobook, there are some tiny tweaks, that's what I call them here, where I just feel like I could say it in less words. And so I've been just deleting tiny things, just tiny stuff. I've been spiffying it up. I don't know if that's a verb. And then the first few chapters in particular, I really want to go over again one more time, just to be like, how can I make these stronger? Because I feel like the first few chapters are slow, but I'm not sure how to fix it. So I'm going to take a look at that. And then this 25%, 50%, and 75% pacing is something I learned from Heart Breathing's channel in her video, and it just blew my mind. I'm going to link it below for you guys, because you got to check that video out. It's been so cool. I've been having so much fun with that. Whew, that is just a couple things that I have to do for the hardcover. I want to share an update with you guys. I have been working super hard on brainstorming hardcovers. So last night I took this stack and I went through and made really extensive notes on like what's on the back flap, what's on the front flap, what's on the back of the book. You know, like some of them have a ton of stuff, others have almost nothing. Well, that's not a good example right here. This one has almost nothing, if I remember right. Yes. And so it was just kind of fun to compare and be like, okay, and then like what's on the inside, you know, what's underneath the jacket, things like that. I just made tons of notes for myself, and then I created this little guy, which I won't share too much yet because it's not set in stone, but I had fun like creating. Here would be some of the ideas I have for the, you know, the spine, the front's not going to change, the inside flaps and the back of the book, things that I think would be really cool to include. And, you know, I still have to figure out, like, I have no idea. I don't think embossing is an option for self-publishing right now, even though it's so beautiful. I would love to do something like this that's like unique underneath the cover, but I don't really know yet. I've never done hardcovers before, so stay tuned. It's gonna be a surprise. I will definitely have more videos in the future, but I do know about the exclusives that I want to include, and I've been working hard on that, and I've been playing with character art like these ones by Margarita Lapina. One of my patrons did these for me. Let me show you. Whoops. I am just obsessed with how these turned out. You guys, let me show you the other one. This is Gideon and Rena, for anybody who doesn't know. And then, of course, I also have character art from Ingrid Nordley. This is, now I've put it together because she gives me the PNG of the character and I can put it on whatever background I want. So I created this phone case for myself with the title font and a different background. But she has also designed Caden for me, and I haven't printed it out yet, so I will flash it on the screen. Again, I love that Ingrid sends PNG files, so I can just like put them together like this on any background that I want. I think that's really fun. So that's how I've been planning, and I also have this release plan here, and I have a bunch of deadlines. All the pink is the week I'm in right now, and the pink is like urgent deadlines for the hardcover. And I have a video on how I made this coming right after this video, so I will link that below once it's live. But I am very excited to show you guys how the hardcovers turn out. I can't imagine it, but I just am so excited, and I will definitely be doing unboxings and stuff in the future and bring you along the journey with me. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already. And now back to the regularly scheduled video. I sat down to write a Gideon POV just to feel it out and try things, and I got so excited about it. I don't want to share too many spoilers because it would be very easy to do, but I will say it's gonna be so good. I'm also gonna give the Q&A section my best shot because that was definitely one of the top votes, and I might call it like a FAQ section, frequently asked questions, because there are some, I think there were at least 4, maybe 5 that I have heard many times before, and so I just kind of want to like phrase them in a way that will kind of answer everybody, and then I want to try writing my answers to them and probably just do a rough draft of that. But I know that I need to write all the exclusives, like choose something as fast as possible, so that I can send the final page count to Mandy so that she can work on the wrap, and then I can get it in gear and order a copy. And oh my gosh, I again want to do rapid releases for these. So how cool would it be if they were to start coming out in just a couple months? I don't know if that's doable, we'll see. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this really rambly vlog style video, and I will talk to you again very soon. Oh, don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe button. You know, if you want to click it, it helps me out. It also helps me out if you watch videos all the way through, tell your friends, even if you watch the ads, that helps me. So thank you guys so much for being here. You're the best. I really appreciate you, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye.